Hey folks, I hope you're doing well. This is a conversion project I've been working on and I want to show you it before I move on to painting and cover up all the modifications that I've done to it. This was a project that had started years and years and years ago. Well, a miniature that I started years ago. It started out as, I can't even pronounce its name, so I'll just show you the card that came with it. It's a Rackham Confrontation mini and it was meant to look like this. But I started painting it up ages ago and kind of left it for years and then came back to it, and instead of just painting it up as it was meant to be, I thought it would be a good chance to make something that was a bit custom. So I went with this guy. The kind of skin already had like a NURGLE sort of look to it, so I went for like a NURGLE beast type idea. So I've just added a stomach of, I think this was from the Putrid Blight Kings kit. I just added the stomach of one of those and kind of molded, sculpted it in a wee bit. The sides here again are from the Putrid Blight Kings. I think these were like waist plates or something like that. This one's more like metal plates, and then on this side it's more sort of leather look to it. So I just put one of those either side just to make it look like he's cobbled together some sort of armor for his midsection there. This piece on the front, this was a shield from a really old orc set from, I think it was from Games Workshop. But it was a really old orc shield, and I just cut the top parts of it off and left these spikes, and in the middle there was a little skull, but I just sculpted that out and then added in a little bit from some NURGLE thing anyway, the little kind of beetle or fly thing, the motif they have going on there. So I just put that in the center. The back I've just added, I think this was the shoulder pad from the Putrid Blight Kings again, but there was only half of it that looked like this, so I'd added that in and then sculpted on the other side, just to make it look like it was leather all the way over, and then added a tiny little plastic ring. This is just a tiny slice of the stem in the middle of a cotton bud or a Q-tip. So I just cut the little plastic stem into tiny little slices, and it makes for little kind of rings. So I'll paint that up to look like metal, just to give the idea that this is something weighing it down on this side, because on this side there's like a little tab of metal there. So that the idea this would be kind of draped over the horn that he's got coming out of his back there. And hidden away in there, I've just kind of continued the armor round, I guess, and added like a little plate sort of idea in there. The arms I'd sculpted from scratch pretty much. I just drilled holes into the top of the torso here and used wire to get the shape that I wanted, and then sculpted over those with green stuff. The arm at the top of here, this was the forearm, I think, of one of the Putrid Blight Kings, so it's got the little circle motifs going on in there. But it worked out pretty well for like a wrist guard, I guess, for this guy. So that's what's going on there. The hands coming up and holding on to this axe thing I just cobbled together out of random bits and pieces. The handle here was it's sprue from Rackham Miniatures. They all tend to have these interesting sort of textured sprues. So I held on to a few, and I thought it would make a pretty interesting kind of textured handle on this thing. Obviously sculpted out a little bit at the bottom there, and then for the head of the axe, I've taken the axe blade from I think this was like what was it, the Chaos Space Marines or something kit. I had an axe left over in my bits box, so I used the head of that, sculpted the three circles here. Again, these are just little rings from the cotton bud stem that I've sliced off and put in there just for kind of detail work, I guess. And then sculpted a little spike on the side here to match this side here. And the horns up the top are, I think it was from a helmet from the Chaos Space Marines as well. But I just did that to give it a kind of like an axe or a maul sort of look to it. On the other arm, this is a plate from, what was it called? The Dark Talos Pain Engine or something. This is a plate that you could have put on there. I think it's meant to be like a shield for them, but I thought it would make a pretty cool looking, you know, kind of standard shield. So I just put it onto this arm here and then sculpted some strapping in at the back for that to make sense on the arm. The shoulder here, this again was a shoulder pad from the oh god, I've forgotten the name again. The Plague Knights, that's not what it's called. You know what I mean? The same kit as the rest of this stuff's from. But it didn't fit over the shoulder here, so I just kind of sculpted in the middle there for it to make sense. The face is from, what was it? Plague drones, that was it. The NURGLE plague drones. I didn't use some of the heads that you get in there, so I thought it would make a decent one for this. I thought it looked really cool with his mouth being open and stuff. It looks like he's kind of roaring. And then sculpted in some horns at the top here. These are just bits of sprue that I'd whittled down and kind of, you know, left a wee bit of texture going on there for them to look like bone, like they're growing out the top of his head there. And finally, around the back, there is this fin thing was from is it Warhammer's like river trolls, I think. I had a fin left over from putting those together, so put that in the back there, and hopefully it kind of makes for an interesting, different looking model. I forgot to mention in the original recording of this video, so I'm chucking this in now. The reason he's called Barry is because my girlfriend decided to call him Barry. She looked at him while I was working on him and she says, oh, he looks like he should be called Barry. And I thought it to start with, I was gonna give him a cool name like, I don't know, Grakzul or something weird. But yeah, Barry just kind of stuck, so he is forever known as Barry. Oh, and she also decided that he's a history teacher, and he campaigns for the rights of beasts on the weekends, because apparently they don't like being ordered about by humans or by masters or whatever. So there you go. He's a weird character for sure. And she's decided to start like naming my other miniatures and stuff. So they're all going to end up with like weird names and backstories, but. There you go. Barry just kind of stuck with this dude, so that's his name now. So there you go, that's this dude for now. I'm just playing around again with ideas and stuff. I'm trying to get to grips with sculpting on, you know, smaller scales and things like that as well. So it's really tricky and fiddly and very time consuming, but I enjoy it a lot, and you know, hopefully I'm improving steadily over time. So doing conversion work like this just gives a lot of opportunity to play around with bits. The fact that you can use pre-existing bits and modify them slightly, or you know, incorporate them some way, it gives you like a starting point. With a head, for example, that gave me a starting point, and then you know, I just kind of went from there. I thought it would look good with the horns coming out the back here, and so sculpted all that in to make sense. So I think it can help a lot to play around with existing models and to modify them and try and, you know, do different bits and pieces, because you know, it'll improve my sculpting skills hopefully, and also, you know, it gives you pieces that no one else has, or that no one else has made, I guess. So there we go. I'm gonna paint this one up and then hopefully have another video showing you it finished. But cheers for watching. Thanks for the comments and stuff. I don't get too many, but I really appreciate the ones I do get. It's awesome to know that folk are enjoying watching this stuff. I'm creeping on about 200 subscribers now, which is awesome. It's great to know that folk are on the other end, and I'm not just talking to no one. So it's cool to know that views are slowly creeping up there. So thank you for every one of them. I really appreciate it. But until the next one, cheers for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Goodbye.